If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
It's time for the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games at Southern Utah University in Cedar City. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of a Utah sports tradition at utahsummergames.org. Participate in over 50 sports around the state. Then plan to join the opening ceremonies Friday, June 5th, presented by State Bank of Southern Utah. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hope you're settling into our new lineup. Tim Lacombe is joining Scotty G now from 10 till 2. They'll follow us. And then Jake and Ben are on at 2 o'clock all the way till 7 or whenever we have a game. And, man, during hockey and basketball season, it seems like all the time now. Scotty has a question at PK, and he points out something that in Sports Talk Radio we all know. We've lived it. Traditionally, Utah's been all about the Jazz, but not so much about the NBA. Curious if the same applies to the Mammoth. Now that Utah's been eliminated, do you still plan on watching the NHL playoffs? He's got, yep, I'm all in. If it's a Game 7, maybe. Nah, I'll be back in October. I thought October would win in a runaway. It's winning with 42% of the vote. He's got over 100 votes in, almost 150. 32% for I'm all in. If it's a Game 7, maybe, with 25% of the vote. How do you think the NHL plays around here in the long run? I think it's the same thing as the NHL. Your team's out. You're disappointed. The weather's getting good. This is a part of the country where there is a lot to do in May if your team gets knocked out. I think largely people go on with their hiking and biking and Lake Powell trips, don't they?
I hate Lake Powell. Most overrated vacation destination out there. It's hot. You do the same thing every day. It's boring. I hate it.
You know, one of your bosses lives for that and has 2 weeks at Lake Powell every year. One early in the summer, one late in the summer. And it's
well,
family,
she's misguided.
Family.
Well, they're wrong. They haven't experienced other things, man.
The beach, the waves,
yeah,
the crash of the surf.
Sun, the sand, the surf. Hennessy's. I mean, come on. And that's a eating establishment, not a drinking beverage.
And it's funny. It is a legendary place because when I lived in Santa Barbara, I worked with two guys who lived in L.A., and they were older, and I was a student in the sports information department, and one of them knew about it, and we were going down to a game, and the way it all worked out, he goes, we're going to lunch at Hennessy's. I'm like, what's a Hennessy's? And I did think it was a bar. We walked in, and I could hear the place as we were getting out of the car before I knew where it was. You could just hear the rumble of conversation or people eating, and it was like 72 degrees and blue
there's
sky.
3 in the south. There's one in La Jolla, too, if you ever want to go there.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Not that I spent a lot of time in La Jolla. But it was, and I don't know if we were at, is it Redondo Beach? Manhattan. I wasn't driving.
They have one in Torrance and Hermosa and Manhattan.
Well, this one was right on the water. It was glorious. I defy anyone to have a bad time at that place. It's impossible.
Yeah, I took Scotty and Ben Bagley there.
And did they say spectacular?
Yeah, you sit up. They have a second story, and you are right on the Strand, and the water is 50 yards away.
Yep, that's where we were.
Right there. Yeah.
And you can be there on a gloomy gray day, but we were there. It was blue skies, Chamber of Commerce type stuff. It was glorious.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Just
we would always get a steak sandwich and a steak sandwich.
Okay, nice.
And I'll do it again this summer. I don't think that Salt Lake is anything different and is that unique in terms of the Jazz.
Bills fans, when they lose in the divisional playoffs to the Chiefs, they check out on the AFC title game? We're not watching that.
I think NFL is different. It's a one-game deal.
The Beast.
You just have to allocate 3 hours versus 7 games over 2 weeks.
Well, certainly in a place like, say, Boston, right? Long-term, multi-generational city, tons of championships. So the Bruins, the Celtics, they check out of the playoffs, but you can just pivot right to the Red Sox. Now, that's not great this year because the Red Sox have already fired their manager.
Right, and I think that baseball. I can remember literally talking to Austin Ainge about this several years ago when he was in town for the summer league, I think it was, and he worked for the Celtics and lived there, obviously, and he just told me that he got a little tired of listening to sports radio in May and June and having them obsess over the starting pitching rotation. He literally told me that. Mm-hmm. So they do have other things that they can pivot to. And you're right, the weather, and particularly back there, my gosh, the springs are short. I mean, the good weather, relatively speaking, is shorter, much shorter than what we have.
Yep.
I was in Minnesota once for an NCAA tournament, and in the Mall of America spiel and I'll go to some little knickknack shop and buy something for my kids or something. And the young gal rang me up. We went to Hillcrest High, of all places, in obviously over there, what's that, Midvale, wherever it might be. And she told me, "Oh, you're so lucky." I said, "What?" I said, "Well, when you go home, now it's only a week or two and the weather's going to be really good. We still got 6 to 8 weeks of it." And she said it with such anguish.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh man, that sucks. I mean, all of us are just jumping up and down when spring arrives here. That's what's fun about living here. I kind of took spring for granted when I lived in LA and Phoenix because it's not that big of a difference. It can be some days, but the weather matters for people and you want to get outside. I do think also too, we need some rivalries, Let's get Vegas in the second round or first round or maybe second round next year and go at it a little bit, because I think that obviously with our community, with the Jazz, and we have a lot of people who are not necessarily from here, maybe from Phoenix, Oregon. Well, everybody hates the Lakers, right? Unless you're a Laker fan. And so it's fun to watch them lose. I can remember Rod Zundel watching a sportscast. Remember they won, I don't know if it was their first, second, or third with Shaq and Kobe. And he leads his sportscast at KSL Channel 5 with, "Okay, I got some bad news, people. Turn away if you don't want to hear it." And it was that the Lakers won. They won whatever title it was that year. I don't remember if it was because they won 3 in a row. I don't remember what year it was, but he was talking about that. And, he's a Utah guy all the way, living down in St. George now with the Utah Tech. But, obviously he was brought up to hate the Lakers.
Yeah,
and so I think you can have that.
Yeah. It's in his blood. Bear River High Bears. Heard that more.
You can extend that. And then this will continue to grow. It's just in the infancy stage. And what's really cool is 15, 20 years from now, there's going to be a lot of fans who say, I remember when. I'll be dead, but the rest of them will be excited about where this franchise goes, just with like the hardcore Jazz fan. I've always said to me, I wanted to see the Jazz to win. When they were in the finals those times, I didn't really care if the Statues won a title. I wanted to see my 3 reasons for the Jazz to win were 1, Larry Miller, 2, Jerry Sloan, and 3, the fans. I didn't even put any of the players on the list. I put those guys who grind, and the players grind too. But I want to see these teams. I want to see the Jazz win for the fans, because they have been through thick and thin for decades, and they're the ones, right? They're the ones that go to the cemetery a la when the Red Sox or Cubs won. I can't remember who won, which one, and looks around, and as your eyes get adjusted, you see several other people are at the cemetery too, because it's at night and they're going to share what it was, either Boston or the Cubs, and they had been jinxed. Maybe it was the Cubs here because they got the one. Boston has gotten a few since, and they wanted to celebrate with their deceased parent. And that's what it means. That's what we have in this town with Jazz people. And if the Jazz win, there's going to be people who cry because they're going to think of their parents or their grandparents who brought them into Jazz fandom. And that's what it's about. And it's going to take some time for the Mammoth to get there, but they will get there and they'll continue. And I think Scotty in 10 years asks that question, you're going to have more people be involved, particularly if it's for no other reason than I want to see Vegas lose, or I want to see Colorado, to pick the teams that are the closest. Who knows what's going to develop going forward. And right now we started something with Vegas. Who's that one? He's a flamboyant talk show host. Used to be in LA, and now he's in Vegas. And he's got kind of a raspy voice. I saw a video that he did where he's been there you go, JT the Brick, and he's smoking a cigar, and he's sitting outside, and he's ripping Mammoth fans for the stupid turn in your jersey thing, and you thought you had a chance. Now, probably some of it is radio entertainment shtick,
some of it,
but have that a couple more years, and then we're into it, and then for no other reason, we'll watch to see Anaheim punk this year, Vegas. Who knows what's going to be down the line, right? As the playoff brackets are formulated and teams advance. So I think the good thing about whatever the Mammoth are doing now, it's going to be bigger, fill in the blank when.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.